some of the concentrate feeds used for livestock and poultry. Okay, wait. Okay, common concentrate feeds of livestock and poultry. So in one of my previous class, I already discussed about the classification of feeds and fodders of livestock and poultry, and in that particular class also I discussed about the concentrate feeds. Okay, so all of you may remember what is concentrate feed. Anyway, concentrate feeds are the feed which have less fiber, that is less than 18%, and more total digestible nutrient, that is more than 60%. So they are known as concentrate feeds. There are many concentrates we use for feeding livestock and poultry. That means for ration formulation, and most of them are cereal grains and their byproducts. Cereal grains like maize, barley, oat, wheat, rice, etc. can be used for ration formulation of the livestock and poultry. They are rich in energy, and starch content varies from 8 to 12%. Starch content is very high, and protein content it varies from 8 to 12%. And although it has less calcium as well as less lysine and methionine, but generally rich in fat as well as rich in phosphorus than that of the roughages. However, phosphorus of the cereals, in most of the cereals, phosphorus will be in the form of phytin phosphorus. That is, phosphorus will be with the phytic acid. It means phosphorus will be in combination with phytic acid. That is known as phytin phosphorus. Okay, and for utilization of the phytin phosphorus by the livestock and poultry needs one enzyme which is known as phytase. Okay, phytase enzyme will be required for dissociation of phytic acid from phosphorus to make phosphorus available for absorption. Phytase enzyme is present in ruminant animals because the rumen microbes they can synthesize, some of the rumen microbes they can synthesize phytase, but most of the non-ruminant animals they do not have phytase enzyme because it is not synthesized in their digestive tract. So therefore, if phosphorus is present in the form of phytin phosphorus, then most of the phosphorus will be unutilized and will be excreted through the feces. And moreover, this phytase it can combine with calcium, and thereby calcium absorption is also reduced in case of in animals if there is more phytin phosphorus or if there is more phosphorus in the form of phytates. Okay. Cereal grains are rich in thiamine and vitamin E, but they are deficient in vitamin A and riboflavin, except in yellow maize, which is rich in provitamin A. That provitamin A is known as cryptoxanthin or zeaxanthin, and it is a provitamin. That means it should be converted to vitamin A. It's a carotene, beta carotene. It should be converted to vitamin A. Regarding commonly used cereals, I already told you maize, barley, oat, wheat, rice. However, barley means if it is available, then only we can use barley, because its productivity or production is not sufficient to meet both for human consumption as animal consumption. So therefore, barley is generally not used except when its production is high or it is easily available. In case of oat also, all of you know that we human beings consume oats, and there are many products of oats nowadays. Wheat also, all of you know, it is not sufficient for human consumption. How we can feed the wheat as such to the animals. And in case of rice also, the same thing. However, although we have maize, although we human beings consume maize and it has many ready-to-eat product, but still maize we use. It's not staple feed for human being. Therefore, we use maize generally for some formulation of the livestock and poultry. Now I'll discuss something about maize, because it is a very important cereals for livestock and poultry. It has very high metabolizable energy, and metabolizable energy value is is nearly 3,350 kilocalorie metabolizable energy per kg, and its protein content varies from 8 to 13%. But yes, hello. Hello, what happened? Okay, automatically they can join. No, there will not be any problem. Maize, it's a very important, as I told you. Maize kernel contain two protein, zein and glutenin. So these two protein is present in the maize kernel. And recently in UK, one maize variety was developed, and it is very high in methionine and lysine also. Although usually maize are usually less in lysine and methionine, but this variety, this Flory 2, has more lysine as well as methionine. Farm animals are generally fed crushed maize, because as such we cannot feed them to the animal, and depending on the physiological stage also, we have to reduce the size of the maize. Flat maize decreases the acetic acid to propionic acid proportion in rumen, and hence decreases the butterfat content of milk. Actually, if we feed more concentrate to the animals, particularly to the ruminant animals, then there will be more production of propionic acid than the acetic acid. But acetic acid, it is required for synthesis of milk fat. So therefore, when there will be more production of propionic acid than the acetic acid, so definitely there will be less synthesis of milk fat. So this is the reason actually. Not only maize, if we provide more concentrate to the ruminant animals, lactating animals, then there will be decrease in butterfat or fat percentage in milk. Improperly stored maize having high moisture content are prone to Aspergillus flavus infestation and produce aflatoxin. So this is one of the problem related in case of maize, but it will occur only when there will be more moisture. Generally, moisture content is less than 15% in case of grain, and but if moisture is more than 15%, in that case, definitely they may be infested with fungus, and there will be formation of various toxin, and one of the main toxin is aflatoxin, and in that case, it may result aflatoxicosis in animals, livestock, as well as in poultry. Barley, it is, I already told you, it's less frequently used cereals, but if it is sufficient, we can use for feeding to the animals. Barley has high fiber content and protein content. It varies from 6 to 14%, and it has less than 2% fat or oil. It also has low lysine. Barley is a main concentrated food for fattening pigs in UK. So since it is its productivity high, therefore in UK barley is the main concentrated feed in case of pig. The awns of barley should be removed, creamed or coarsely ground before feeding poultry or swine. This variety, Notch 2, it was developed in UK and it is rich in lysine. Oats are mainly used for human consumption in India, so therefore for animal feeding we do not use, but it can also be incorporated in ration of livestock and poultry. What has highest food fiber of around 12 to 16% with 7 to 15% crude protein. Methionine, histidine, and tryptophan are deficient in oats but abundant in glutamic acid. That means glutamic acid percentage or content is high in oats. Cattle and sheep are fed with crushed or bruised oats, whereas pigs and poultry are fed with ground oats. Depending on the species, we have to crush or ground up oats before feeding to the animals. Wheat byproducts are generally used for feeding to the animals, but it can also be used, and it contains 6 to 12% crude protein. That is similar to, you can say, maize. Wheat contains gluten and is a combination of two protein, prolamine and glutenin, and it is important from a human health point of view, because some of us cannot tolerate gluten. So it is allergic to some of us, and in that case, we human beings should consume gluten-free wheat, and it causes digestive problem in human beings. But in case of animals, of course, we can use, and this type of things are not reported. However, like if it is available abundantly, in that case, we can use as a substitute of maize, or we can incorporate along with other cereal grains. Finally, milled wheat is unpalatable to animals because it forms a pasty mass in the mouth and may lead to digestive upset. Okay, so this is because of actually gluten. If gluten percentage is very high, in that case, like it may also cause digestive upset. But if we incorporate along with other concentrate, then we can avoid this problem. Rice, all of you know, it's a very good source of energy, and we human being consume. Then rye is similar to wheat in composition and regarded as least palatable among cereals. So therefore, we usually not used for feeding to the livestock, but we can substitute. We can substitute some other cereal grains. Rye is prone to ergot infestation, and rye should be crushed before feeding to the animals. Millets are also rich in energy, and commonly used millets are sorghum and barja. So here, this is the picture of sorghum or jowar, and this is the picture of barja. So in our northeast, these two are not available, but in some other part of India, these two are available and used for feeding to the animals. Sorghum is similar to maize in chemical composition, but they have higher protein and low fat than maize. So therefore, we can say they have less energy than the maize. Poultry and pig can be fed with crushed grain, whereas cattle are fed with ground sorghum. Nutritive value of barja is similar to sorghum with 8 to 12% of crude protein and rich in tannin content. So this is one of the drawback. tannin is if tannin percentage is high, then it may cause digestive problem in animals, or it may make the feed unpalatable, because tannin is bitter in taste, and it is an anti-nutritional factor. So if it is high, in that case, better to avoid. However, we can substitute or we can incorporate with other cereals. Seeds are hard, so they have to ground or crush before feeding to the animals. Meal byproducts of cereals, and generally meal byproducts of cereals are used for feeding livestock and poultry, along with cereal like maize. Bran, different type of brans are available, like rice bran, wheat bran. However, nowadays rice bran is not used as such. Oil is removed from the rice bran, and after that, de-oiled rice bran is used for feeding to the animals. Wheat bran is a very good source of protein. It contains around 12 to 13% protein on diameter basis. So therefore, along with energy, it is a very good source of protein. In case of rice bran also, it contains 12 to 14% protein and 11 to 18% oil. But if we remove the oil, then definitely it will be around 1 to 3%. Okay. Dual rice bran is very commonly used along with wheat bran. Flour can also be used for feeding to the animals, and mainly this gluten and middlings, they can be used along with other cereal, grain or their byproducts for feeding to the animals. And grain screening. Small imperfect grains with seeds and other foreign materials should be separated from the grain, and this is known as grain screening. It is very important because, like during harvesting or during cultivation also, some other grains may grow or it may come during harvesting time. So these wheat seed or other grains may have antinutritional factor, and thereby what will do, they will reduce the nutritive value of cereal grains. So therefore, their removal is very, very essential. Polishing, in case of rice, after milling, we can get rice polish, and it is a very good source of energy as well as protein. Protein content is 10 to 15%, and it also has 12% fat, and fiber is less. It is rich in B complex vitamin and good source of energy. Due to high fat content, rancidity may occur. So therefore, we have to use as soon as possible. We cannot store rice polish for long duration, because there is heavy chances of rancidity, particularly in hot and humid conditions. Molasses is a readily available source of energy source, and it is very frequently incorporated along with other energy-rich concentrate for feeding to both livestock as well as poultry. It's a very good source of readily available source of energy. It is extracted from during, it is produced during juice and sugar cane extraction process. It is a concentrated water solution of sugar, hemicellulose, and minerals. It is a good source of mineral also. There are 4 varieties of molasses: cane molasses, wheat molasses, citrus molasses, and wood molasses. So out of these 4, we generally use cane molasses for incorporating with other energy-rich concentrate for feeding both ruminant as well as non-ruminant animals. Canned molasses is the product of sugar industry and contains 3% protein and 10% S. Since it is 10% S, so therefore definitely they will be rich in minerals. While wheat molasses is a product during production of wheat sugar and has higher protein than the canned sugar. Citrus molasses is bitter in taste with highest protein, 14%, and produced when oranges or grapes are pressed for juice. So it is bitter in taste. So therefore, we can substitute some of the concentrated cereals and their byproducts, and processing may be required, or incorporation of molasses may be required. Like this canned sugars, canned molasses may be required along with it to reduce the bitter taste. Food molasses is a product of paper industry with 2% protein and palatable to cattle. We can use wood molasses for feeding to ruminant animals. Molasses is a good source of energy and an appetizer. So to reduce the bitterness or to enhance feed intake in animals, we can use molasses. It reduces dustiness in ration and is a very useful as binder in pellet making. So it can be used as a binder also, particularly like for making pellet as well as for making complete feed block in case of ruminant animals. Since it reduces dustiness, thereby intake or consumption of feed will increase, and moreover it will increases the stability of the nutrient also to some extent. Molasses can be included up to 15% in cattle ration and up to 5% in poultry ration. Now, molasses quality is generally indicated in terms of molasses Brix unit. Canned molasses usually have 80-degree Brix unit. So this is the unit for assessing molasses quality. Molasses Brix. Animals and vegetable fats are also used as energy source or energy feed in livestock as well as in poultry. Sometimes what happens, particularly in case of very high producing animals and in growing poultry birds or in growing pigs, energy requirement when it is very high, it is very difficult to balance the ration in aspect of energy. In that case, we can incorporate some quantity of animal as well as vegetable fat to balance the ration in aspect of energy as well as to make the feed or ration more acceptable for the animal. Dairy cows in early lactation demands a high energy ration. A higher level of energy in the ration can be achieved by increasing the amount of cereal gain, but sometimes it is not possible, and incorporation of animal or vegetable fats are desirable. Fats have received increased interest and are considered to be potential source of energy in the ration of lactating cows. Hence, the thesis that would actually enable more fat to be included in a ruminant diet through protected fat gain considerable importance. So this is also another thing we have to consider in case of ruminant animals. In case of ruminant animals, if ration contains more fat, more than 10%, then it may hamper the growth of the fiber degrading bacteria in the rumen. So therefore, what will happen? There will be decreased fiber digestibility. So therefore, if we can protect fat, or if you can bypass the fat in the rumen, then it will be digested in the small intestine like the non-ruminant animals, and there will not be any problem for the fiber degrading rumen microbes. Similarly, high growth rate in broilers and egg production in layers lead to increased energy density in that, and this could be achieved only by inclusion of fat in the diet. I already told. Fat provides 2.25 times more energy than carbohydrates or protein. Always remember, fat and oil and fat reduces the dustiness of feed and lessens the wear on feed mixing equipment. So these are also advantages of incorporating fat. Vegetable oils like corn oil, groundnut oil, sunflower oil, animal fat like lard, tallow are extensively used in livestock and poultry feeding. Vegetable oil, any vegetable oil you can use, or lard and tallow also we can use, or we can incorporate in livestock as well as poultry ration. Animal fat contains saturated as well as unsaturated fatty acids. Vegetable fat contains greater proportion of linoleic acid. Linoleic acid is an essential amino acid. Essential fatty acid, sorry. There are three essential fatty acids: linoleic acid, linolenic acid, and arachidonic acid. So vegetable fat contains greater proportion of linoleic acid. Higher level of polyunsaturated fatty acids lead to rancidity, and therefore antioxidants like butylated hydroxytoluene or ethoxyquin should be included in high fat diet. So these two have to be incorporated if we incorporate vegetable oil or animal fat along with other ingredient in the ration. Otherwise, there may be rancidity. Protein supplements may be of animal origin or plant origin. Generally, plant origin protein supplements or protein feed ingredients are incorporated in ruminant ration. However, in non-ruminant ration, we incorporate both animal origin as well as plant origin plant origin protein rich ingredients. Animal origin protein supplement or protein feed ingredients has mostly over 47% protein, 1% calcium, 1.5% phosphorus, and less than 2.5% fiber. While plant origin protein feed has mostly less than 47% protein, usually it is 45% or less. 1% calcium, 1.5% phosphorus, and more than 2.5% fiber. However, 5% percentage is not as high as the RAPEDs, but comparatively higher in plant origin protein feeds than the animal origin protein feed. Other sources from which protein supplement can be obtained include NPN compounds, single cell protein, etc. NPN compounds are generally used for ruminant animals. Non-ruminant animals, they cannot utilize NPN compounds, if please remember. Plant origin protein feed ingredients are mainly the oil cakes, maybe soybean meal, and different plant seed which are rich in protein. Animal origin protein feeds are mainly fish meal, meat cum bone meal, etc. Protein supplements of or protein feed ingredients of plant origin. This is already discussed. Oil seed cakes or meals, they are plant origin protein feed ingredients. Oil-bearing seeds are grown in many purposes like vegetable oil production, for human consumption, for paints, and for other industrial use. The byproducts left after extraction of oil from oil seeds are used for feeding all kinds of livestock. That means oil cakes or meals, they are leftover. We human beings do not require. So these can be used as livestock feed. Oil content and protein content varies according to the method of processing. Three main processes are used for removing oil from oil seeds: ghani and expeller. Of course, nowadays this ghani is not used. The expeller is used for extraction of oil. and because it the later, that is expeller, it results more extraction of oil from the oil seeds. Materials of higher oil content undergo modified screw pressing to lower the oil content to a suitable level, followed by solvent extraction. So nowadays, whatever oil cakes are available in the market, all are solvent extracted oil cakes. In that case, oil percentage or oil content will be very, very less in these oil seeds or oil cakes. In these oil cakes, you can say, or meals. Only material with oil content of less than 35% is suitable for solvent extraction of oil. Nutritive value of the oil cakes or meals. Oilseed proteins have low cysteine and methionine and lysine. Therefore, they cannot provide adequate supplementation to the cereal proteins which they are commonly used. So in that case, sometimes depending on the requirement of the animal, we may need supplementation of you can say synthetic amino acid. They should be used in conjunction with an animal protein which, when given to simple stomach animal. In case of non-ruminant animals, I told you already that plant proteins are always used with animal protein, because plant proteins, their amino acid profile is not very good, and most of the essential amino acids are absent or deficient. But animal protein, most of the animal protein feed, they contain almost all the essential amino acids. So therefore, if we incorporate animal protein feed along with plant protein feed, in that case, we'll be able to fulfill the amino acid requirement of the animals, and this is true for simple stomach animals. In case of ruminant animals, of course, the thing will be different, because rumen microbes, they can synthesize all the essential amino acids. So therefore, incorporation of animal protein feed is not required in case of ruminant animals. 95% of the nitrogen in oil seeds meals is present as true protein. Okay, that means NPN percentage is very less. You see, this is true protein with digestibility of 75 to 90%. So therefore, they are very good source of protein. In case of fat, when the oil content is high in the oilseed cakes, it makes a significant contribution to the energy content of the diet. So that is when we feed the oilseed as such to the animals. In that case, along with protein, it may contribute significant amount of energy also. This purely depends upon the process employed in extracting oil and its efficiency. Solvent extraction, as I told you, it will lead to more extraction of oil, whereas garnish pressing may result less extraction of oil, thereby energy content will be high in those oil cakes. Digestive disturbances may occur from uncontrolled use of cakes rich in oil. Of course, when there will be more oil, definitely the digestibility of the nutrient, other nutrient will be reduced. And in case of ruminant animals, as I already told you, that fiber degraded digestion will be reduced. Milk or body fat may be soft and carcass quality is lowered when the oil is unsaturated. So this is also another problem in case of meat producing animals. Micronutrients. How much micronutrients are present in the oil cakes or meals? The oilseed meals usually have high phosphorus content, which generally tend to aggravate their low calcium content. So here I want to say one thing, like you always remember that generally the grains and the concentrate, you can say, they are always rich in phosphorus but low in calcium. Whereas forages, they are rich in calcium but low in or less in phosphorus. They may provide useful amount of B vitamins but poor sources of carotene and vitamin E. Commonly used oil cake or meals in livestock feeds are groundnut, peanut meal oil, soybean oil meal, linseed meal, coconut meal, cottonseed meal, safflower meal, sunflower meal, mustard cake, sesame seed cake or tea oil cake, rapeseed meal, palm kernel meal, etc. Out of these oil cakes or meals, in the Northeast, we generally use groundnut cake, soybean meal, and mustard oil cake, because other oil cakes or meals are not available. But in other part of India, all these cakes or meals are used depending on the availability. Groundnut cake. This is the photograph of groundnut cake, and you can, if you go to the market, you'll be able to see this type of cake, and you should be able to recognize. Okay. You just ask the owner whether what type of cake it is, and they will say. Groundnut cake is one of the best protein supplement for livestock feeding and is extensively used. Groundnut oil meal refers to solvent extracted residue, and two grades, it is grade 1 and grade 2, are available in the market. Groundnut cake refers to expeller press and two varieties. Only two. The common adulterant includes castor husk or mohua oil cake. So these two may be present. Groundnut cake has about 45% protein, which is deficient in cysteine, methionine, and lysine, but good source of vitamin B12 and calcium. In rainy season, it is very much prone for mold infestation, and it may lead to production of alpha toxin, which is a secondary metabolite of a mold, Aspergillus flavus. So then, this groundnut cake we cannot use for feeding to the animals. So therefore, storage is very, very important. Moisture percentage of the stored groundnut cake should be less than 15%, and environment should be very dry. There should not be any like waterlogging or water space. Then only we can avoid growth of mold or other infestation. Aflatoxins are most potent toxin, mutagenic, teratogenic, and carcinogenic metabolites produced by the Aspergillus flavus and Aspergillus parasiticus on food and feed material. Presence of oxygen and temperature in the range of 10 to 40 degrees centigrade and high humidity favors the growth of Aspergillus flavus as well as Aspergillus parasiticus, and they will produce different kind of aflatoxins, and they are aflatoxin B1, Z1, B2, Z2, out of which B1 is most toxic for the livestock as well as poultry. The susceptibility to these toxins differs among the species. Turkey poult and ducklings are highly susceptible. Calves and pigs are susceptible, whereas mice and sheep are resistant. In the same species, young animals are more susceptible than the adult. The common symptoms include liver damage, then liver necrosis, hepatic tumor, while the other symptoms include gastritis and kidney dysfunction. Soybean meal. Soybean meal, it contains 44% good protein with all essential amino acids except cysteine, methionine, and it can be fed to all livestock, including poultry, up to 30% in the ration. Up to 30% level, we can incorporate soybean meal. Common adulterants are urea, castor husk, and mohua oil cake. Like other oilseeds, raw soybeans have number of toxic and inhibitory substances. And one of the essential factor present in raw soybeans is soin. It is a goitrogenic material. Six protein inhibitors have been identified in soybean. Out of these 6 inhibitors, the common inhibitors are this Kunitz antitrypsin inhibitor and Bowman-Briggs chymotrypsin inhibitors. They are the main protein inhibitors present in raw soybean or soybean. Trypsin inhibitors specially interfere with protein digestion in monogastric animals. Protein digestibility affects growth rate, egg production, and feed efficiency, and also may lead to hypertrophy of pancreas and excess endogenous loss of essential amino acids. Therefore, we should not use soybean as such for feeding to the animals. Hemagglutinin is present in soybean, which can agglutinate red blood cell. Lectins are protein capable of binding carbohydrate moieties in the epithelial cell linings of small intestine, disrupting the brush border and reducing the efficiency of absorption. So thereby, it will reduce digestibility of the nutrients also of other feeding mediums. Zenistin, a plant estrogen in soybean, has the potency of 4 to 10 times as that of the diethyl sylvesterol. These toxic inhibitory substances and other factors in soybean like saponins can be inactivated by proper heat treatment during processing. That means if we use soybean after processing, okay, if you sun dry or if you grind them or if you make pellet, in that case, if we extract oil, in that case, what will happen? Because of the heat, actually, these inhibitory substances or additional factors will be destroyed. Safflower meal. This is the safflower. I have not seen, of course, and this is the safflower meal. It is a very good source of protein. It contains 40 to 45% protein and 10% fiber. Safflower meal has low lysine and methionine content. It should be fed to the non-ruminants like pigs in conjunction with other lysine-rich protein concentrate. Otherwise, there will be deficiency of lysine and methionine. Sunflower meal, after extraction of oil, this sunflower can also be utilized for feeding to the animals. It contains 40% protein of, but it is low in lysine, and it has very short shelf life. So therefore, we cannot store sunflower for longer duration. The excellent variety of sunflower seed meal or cake has high content of polyunsaturated fatty acid that tends to produce soft pork in pig and soft butter in cows when fed in large amount. So this is a drawback of sunflower meal. We should not incorporate high. It can be fed to cattle ration up to 20% level, not more than that, and 10% in poultry ration. Sunflower cake is not recommended for calves, lambs, chicks, and young pigs. Cottonseed meal, this seed of the cotton can be ground, and after that we can fed to the animals. It has a good quality protein but low in cysteine, methionine, and lysine. The calcium and phosphorus ratio is about 1:6, so calcium deficiency may occur. It cannot be fed to pig and poultry due to dusty nature. It cannot be fed, only ruminant animals. Lactating cows can be fed with cottonseed meal, but when it was given in large amount, milk may become hard and firm. So butter made from such milk fat is difficult. decorticated cottonseed oil cake as well as some decorticated cottonseed oil cakes are available in the market with two grades, that is grade 1 and grade 2. Cottonseed meal contains 0.3 to 20 gram per kg diameter of a yellow pigment known as gossypol. So this is an anti-nuclear factor present in cottonseed meal, and it is a polyphenolic aldehyde. It is an antioxidant and polymerization inhibitor, this gossypol. It is toxic to simple stomach animals, and the symptoms include decreased appetite, loss of weight, and even lead to death due to cardiac failure. Gossypol toxicity can be reduced by addition of calcium hydroxide and iron salt. So, sorry, these two can be used to reduce gossypol toxicity while using cottonseed meal. Coconut meal, it contains 20 to 26% crude protein with low lysine and histidine content and 2.5 to 6.5% oil content. So where there is more production of coconut, in those areas actually this coconut meal is available. However, the higher oil in meals tend to get rancid and may cause diarrhea. Hence, low oil content meal should be preferred. It should be restricted in swine and poultry as it contains a low protein and high fiber, and a low fiber content meal can be fed to monogastric animals with lysine and methionine supplements. Coconut meal produces firm milk fat that is more suitable for butter making. That means it is useful for lactating cattle. Linseed meal not available in the Northeast, but it is used. Among the oilseed residues, linseed is unique because it readily dispersible in water, forming a viscous slime due to the presence of 3 to 10% of mucilage. Cyanogenic glycoside linamarin is an antioxidant factor of the linseed meal. An associated enzyme, linase in immature linseed, hydrolyzes it with the evolution of hydrocyanic acid. Okay, so this cyanogenic glycoside of linseed meal may cause hydrocyanic acid poisoning animals. Hydrocyanic acid is a potent respiratory inhibitor, and hence, depending on the species, the minimum lethal dose taken orally has been estimated as 0.5 to 0.35 milligram per kg of body weight. This is main intake of cyanogenic glycoside. However, proper washing, drying, and storage can reduce the glycosides in the feedstuff. So here you remember that linseed meal contains an additional factor which is a glycoside known as linamarin. Selenium poisoning. So these are advantages. Linseed oil meal refers to sulfonyl residue and two grades, that is grade 1 and grade 2, are available in the market. If available, you can utilize, but we should not use higher quantity. Mustard cake is used generally in ruminant animals, and it is not generally used in case of non-ruminant animals. It has DCP and TDN values of 27% and 74%. It means DCP value is 27%. Up to 10% of the ration it can be fed to poultry, and for pigs it may be up to 20%. So here I think this is not true. Like CP, not DCP, it should be CP. Actually, CP is 27% on diameter basis, and TDN is 74% on diameter basis. Not DCP, okay, this is CP. Heel oil cake or sesame seed cake, after extraction of oil can also be used for feeding to the animals, and is a very good source of protein 40% protein on average present. Rapeseed meal or canola meal, so this can also be used for feeding to the animals. However, it contains glucosinolates accompanied by thioglucosides, that is myrosinase, may lead to goiter and liver and kidney dysfunction in some animals. Therefore, we have to cautiously feed to the animals. Palm kernel meal, it's a byproduct of palm, so it can also be used for feeding to the animals as protein source. Bees can also be used for feeding the animals if available. Protein states like source of protein, all the acids are present. In case of non-ruminant animals, up to 10% level, it can be incorporated. Squilla meal, so if it is available, this can also be a protein feed or protein source. And meat and bone meal, meat and meat come bone meal, it will not only provide protein but also it will be a very good source of minerals. However, like this bone meal, it should be free from hooves, horns, bristle, hair, and feathers, skin, and content of stomach and viscera. So this meat cum bone meal should be free from these. Okay. Meat meal is more valuable for simple stomach animal than ruminant. So because it is a good source of the essential amino acids, and so therefore, in case of non-ruminant animals, it's a very good source of protein as well as minerals. The entering factor from the intestinal tract of swine, the Ackermann factor and growth factor in S are important in meat meal. Liver residue meal and blood meal, this can also be used as protein feed ingredient. Hatchery waste, this is also a very good source of protein, but problem is like we have to sterilize. We have to sterilize well, otherwise it may lead to some other, it may lead to infection or may cause some other problems. Hydrolyzed feeder meal, this is a hydrolyzed feeder meal. And poultry litter, to some extent, we can use poultry litter, not in non-ruminant animal. In case of ruminant animals, we can use poultry litter also as a source of NPN compounds, because in case of poultry, nitrogen will be excreted in the form of uric acid. So therefore, we can say poultry litters will be a very good source of what? NPN compound. So it can be used in case of ruminant animals to some extent. Skim milk, it is used mainly in case of young ruminant animals because it's a very good source of protein. And like suppose if milk is deficient in the cow, it can be used for feeding to the young calves. And skim milk can also be used for preparation of calf starter as well as milk replacer. And in case of pig also, for formulation of preparation, skim milk can be used. And whey, this can also be used as a very good source of protein in the milk replacer or calf starter. Non-protein nitrogenous compounds, different non-protein nitrogenous compounds can be used for feeding to the ruminant animals, because ruminant microbes, they have the unique ability for utilizing the NPN compounds. NPN compounds will be first converted to ammonia, and this ammonia can be utilized by the rumen microbes along with amino acid for synthesizing their microbial protein, body protein, which will be later absorbed in the small intestine. Urea is a very good source of nitrogen. 46% nitrogen is present in urea, around 46% nitrogen. So if you multiply 46 with 6.25, then Cp percentage will be how much? You imagine. So therefore, it is used. It can be used in ruminant animal, but not more than 3% level. Because if it is more, then in that case, it will lead to ammonia toxicity, or you can say urea toxicity in ruminant animals. It should be incorporated along with easily available source of energy like molasses, as well as like this sulfur. Sulfur is also important. It should be nitrogen sulfur ratio should be 15:1. And for that, actually, we can incorporate sodium sulfate along with urea. Urea can be mixed with like a compound feed also, or feed mixture also, for feeding to the animals. Then biuret, it is also an compound. Heating urea produces biuret. It is having 40.8% nitrogen. So it is equivalent to 225% of food protein. Nowadays, single cell protein, like these are the sources of single cell protein: fungi, yeast, algae, bacteria. So this can also be fed. This can also be fed to the animals as a source of protein. Okay, single cell protein, you can say. So thank you. So this is all about my today's presentation. Okay, anybody is there or not? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything? I have already discussed, of course, about the concentrate while I discuss about the classification of feeds and fodder. And there also I have given some tables regarding nutritional composition of some of the concentrates. Okay, you please go through both this presentation. And regarding feed, actually you should know very well, because like in every aspect of animal feeding, you will need this feed or feed ingredients. So therefore, you should have a very good idea about the feeds and their nutritional composition and their availability also. Like suppose you are from different parts of the Northeast. So suppose like in Meghalaya, what type of, or in your location, what type of feed ingredients are available and what are their nutritional composition. You should know very well, and in Tripura it will be different, in Arunachal Pradesh it will be different, and accordingly, actually, these things, this information will be required for formulating balanced ration for the livestock and poultry. So you please go through very well, and you should also be able to recognize the feed ingredients, different feed ingredients you should be able to recognize. Okay. Thank you, Dan.